Uniting World has partnerships in the Pacific, Asia, and parts of Africa. So in the Pacific, we have an extensive range of partnerships in nearly every Pacific nation. And those partnerships are significant. They go back in many cases over 100 years. And they're partnerships also where people from those churches are part of the uniting church here. 2/3 of the people of the world who live in extreme poverty are in Asia and the Pacific. So our partnerships with those parts of the world are very significant and very important if we're going to, as a country, have a go at addressing and overcoming extreme poverty. Every local church, I believe, needs to have a global dimension to its mission, to its life. Right from the time of the early church had every reason to focus on itself. It was persecuted, it was poor, it was powerless, it could have just thought about its own survival, but instead it had this strong sense of solidarity with other congregations that were often in very different localities. Like there would be Gentile Christians supporting Jewish Christian communities, for example. There were people in Macedonia who were supporting the people in Jerusalem. So there was this strong sense of being global. And so the opportunity is for us to live that out again today. It's part of our blood, it's who we are, it's our DNA, as it were. One of the benefits of a local congregation being globally engaged is to do with its reputation in the community that it exists within. So people will come to see that it doesn't exist for itself. It doesn't exist as some kind of religious institution amidst a whole lot of other secular institutions. It's not a club. It exists because it's part of something much, much bigger. It exists for people who are not part of it. And it exists for more than simply getting people in there. It exists for the sake of the world. There is a meeting point here that there are other people who are similarly motivated to become globally engaged. There are other people who are concerned to alleviate poverty. There are other people who want to learn of other cultures, to relate respectfully to people beyond Australia. So here is a bridge into your local community. Here is a bridge to the local school. Here is a bridge to the local Rotary Club. Here's a bridge to the local Lions Club. One of the big shifts happened about 50 years ago when the church stopped speaking about its mission and it started realizing that it was part of God's mission. So there was something much bigger. It wasn't what it did, it's what it shared and it's what it participated in. So it was God who was loving, it was God who was healing, it was God who was ending poverty, as it were, and it was the church's role to be part of that. Another is that mission was seen as has come to be seen more as a mutual process. So it isn't something we do to people, it's not something we inflict on people, it's something that we are involved in together with them. If a local congregation seeks to be part of the mission of God rather than kind of initiating mission and kind of pushing it itself, it seems to me that it sees itself in a more humble way, almost, in a more respectful way of other cultures particularly. So it doesn't imagine that it has the whole truth. It doesn't imagine that it's got the gospel and folks, we're here to share it with you. It somehow is going to be open to the gospel that other people have for it as well. And so it will be a mutual exploration. It will be a lot of listening involved, and it will open itself to a greater truth that people who are very different from us reveal to us, or that God reveals through them, as it were. Because Australia actually needs converting. It needs the truth of our partners. We, as human beings in countries like Australia, live quite individualistic lives. There are partners that can open us to the communal aspect of our biblical faith. It's deeply there, but we are so influenced by Western Enlightenment thinking that we've restricted the gospel. We've taken the gospel and turned it into something other than good news, as it were, and our partners can open us to those dimensions. When people go, it's important not to build dependency. So what we're doing is encouraging, facilitating, enabling, supporting, standing with. And so people, many people will be working quite hard, quite quickly to get themselves out of a job so that a local person can fill that role. We work to nurture, nourish, support, enable local people to take significant roles. And so we don't supplant them, we don't take those roles from them. Uniting World is looking for people who are going to be good at listening, who are going to be respectful of those they visit and stay with, who are going to be inquisitive about culture, who are going to be thoughtful in the exchange of cultures and gifts. So they will bring something to the partnership. We don't want just passivity. It has to be a genuine conversation, a genuine relationship that's going on. But fundamentally, it will be people who come with an attitude of respect and of mutual learning. One of the things that enhances mutuality or a partnership relationship, it seems to me, is firstly to be thoughtful about beginning. So what is the first step? And part of that would be talking with Uniting World staff about the partner, about the dynamics, about their predicament, and then about what does a good partnership look like. So the first thing is not action. I think the first thing is to reflect on the nature of the partnership and the relationship and where we would want it to go.